Hi, I'm Austin Eartham. Welcome to Kitchen Table Podcast. I'm here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing my stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to episode 145. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're new here, what we do is we go through a quote of the week. We talk about where I saw God this past week and what I have learned, hopefully relating to you guys. Put yourselves in my shoes, me in your shoes, and share experiences together so that we can hopefully reach our purpose and get 1% better every single day. So quote of the week this week says, it's kind of a funny one here. I'm sick of following my dream. I'm thinking about calling them and telling them I will hook up with them later. Right, and that's by Mitch Hedberg. So sick of following my dream. I'm gonna thinking about calling them and catching up with them later. Right. So a lot of times we get tired of doing kind of the same thing over and over, trying to make things happen. And sometimes we fall short, and it's just like, I haven't got there yet, haven't got there yet, haven't got there yet, and we're trying and trying and trying, and things just aren't working out in our favor. So sometimes the easy route is to just say, hey, you know what, I'll just catch up with you later, or I'll take today off, or whatever it might be. I'm not gonna figure it out today, and then we end up falling back even more. So once we get in that habit, or say it's okay once, then we say it's okay again, and next thing you know, we're spiraling downhill. So something that I always do is do the hardest things in my day first. The biggest priorities in my day, I'm going to do those first to make sure I get those done. And then I'm able to relax a little bit more. And then you have energy. So you have energy waves as you go. So you wake up, you start to have gradual increase of energy, and then you dip a little bit, and then you go back up. And after lunch, you dip a lot. And after 2:30, 3 o'clock, you tend to go up a little bit more until 6, 7 o'clock, and then you dip as you're getting ready for bed. That's the average circadian rhythm for an adult human. And so if we can do one little bit each time that we know we're going to have the energy and know when our energy is going to dip and find ways to get over that hump, we're going to be a lot better. Keep chasing your dreams in little tiny steps instead of looking at the whole picture. We just look at a little bit of a time, and you'll be a lot closer. So I thought that was a good quote. Where I saw God this past week, it's been freezing cold here, like negative 28 wind chill on a couple nights, and thankful that I have not only a house but a new house, a warm house, and a good sized house to be able to move around in and do things I want to do, but also that has heating and keeps me warm, and have flannel sheets, stuff like that. Really helps. So I'm grateful to have that, because some people don't have that, don't have a warm bed, place to lay their head at night. So things I learned this week. All right, I got 4 things for you. First thing is we want to get a piece of the pie, right? So if you look at all the top executives that don't run companies, I think of Stephen A. Smith. I think of people on Trump's cabinet. I think of people who are in the NFL and who are defensive, offensive coordinators. And then I think of people who are in jobs that are like myself, in terms of a commission-based job. And how do we get a piece of the pie? Because obviously the people who own the company, run the company, are going to make more, right? So Stephen A. always says that I'm going to negotiate. I know my worth. I know what I'm going to do. I know how I'm going to help the company. And we need everybody going in the same direction. How are we going to help? How are we going to get better? And then ultimately being okay with knowing that, hey, I'm not going to get the biggest piece of the pie, but I'm going to get a piece of the pie. A lot of people look at the downside of this isn't right, and it might not be right depending on what you're talking about. But if it's a free country and a free world, then there are certain situations that if you're not going against your morals, I think it's good to try to get in and get a piece of the pie. And if you get a piece of the pie, then you update that, and then you keep moving up the ladder until sooner rather than later you're on the opposite side, and now you have more pieces of the pie than you ever thought, and you can divvy it up into different things and be able to have more freedom financially or coaching wise as well. Moving up the coaching trees the same way. So look at it as a positive. Figure out how you can get in the pie and still be morally correct, obviously, but how can you get in there? How can you understand how the world works and flip your situation into the one who's in control, and then help others to get there as well? Second thing I have is thought processing, right? A lot of people aren't able to pay attention to multiple things at once, but the great executive thinkers, I think of Elon Musk, I think of all the projects he had, all the tech guys, really, Zuckerberg, Bezos, a Google guy, I don't know how to say his name. You think of Warren Buffett and those guys, they have multiple things, multiple trades going on at the same time. Coaches do this all the time. Teachers do this all the time. Can they navigate doing 15 different things at a time and do it with ease, and then be able to put that energy towards multiple things? And if you can do that, you're going to be great. So think of how can we have high executive thinking? How can we process things and move on to the next thing at the same time? That's how great people are made. Be able to have that executive functioning. It's how high performers play well. Think about a quarterback. Think about multiple things. Knows everybody's job on the field. Calls out plays. Knows what the defense is doing. Doing this all at the same time. Coaches, can we come up with plays? Can we change the formation at the line? All that kind of stuff. Relay the information. It's teamwork. But it's also executive thinking, and the better we can executively and high functionally think, the more process that we're going to have towards our purpose and getting better. So that was the other thing I want to talk about. And then the next thing is controversy is good. So controversy, a lot of times people shy away from it, but controversy is how conversation's made. And we've talked about this before. It's okay to speak up. I had a disagreement with some people this week, how I thought it was a great thing that things were happening and they were all worried down in the dumps about it. And in the end, it can only help us. So I think having controversy, laying out your feelings, putting it out there and describing why you feel that way or why you think this is the right move is great. Helps problems to be solved, and there's always going to be problems. So controversy is a good thing as long as you're respectful. Helps things to get done, helps everybody to get better, and that's what we're all here for. Last thing I want to talk about is just from an athletic standpoint. Iowa State was ranked second in basketball and lost to unranked, who's a good team, West Virginia, in West Virginia. And they had Iowa State had a hiccup a couple weeks ago at Texas Tech, ended up winning. So I just have a curious thing, and I would like you guys to let me know and comment on this: is why do underdogs win? What did Iowa State not do well enough to go in there? Yes, they shot 1 for 14 from 3 or something like that, but what causes them to not play as well when they know it's a big game and it's an away game and the crowd's against them? And how do we shift that momentum? Okay, so we can talk about it in terms of sports psychology and the thought process of how we change momentum, but physically, how did they go in there and not show up? Just like last week, Purdue lost to Ohio State. Purdue had a 16-point lead, ended up losing at Ohio State, who's unranked and barely 500 in the Big Ten. Total in the Big Ten, they're 1-5 or something. But total, they were about 500. So I just don't understand necessarily how teams don't show up to their potential all the time. And some of that just being human, some of that is just not having a good night. What is it, and how can we get over that hump? Because the more we can get over that hump, and I think about the Chiefs, they don't play their best game, but they still win. Right? It's not that they're necessarily more talented; they just do better. Than all sides, better coaching, better athletes, all those play a role. But how do we get ourselves to that level? How do we bring it up when we know that we should be winning and we don't perform our best? There's a time when I was in middle school and I used to wrestle this guy all the time. I'd always beat him. I always do one move because I was just stronger. And then one time he beat me and I was like pissed off. And I had to like re-beat him again. And I was like, it was a fluke. I shouldn't have lost. So why did it happen? I wasn't focused. I thought it was too easy. I didn't perform my best. So then we got to go in the details. Okay, what makes us not perform our best? What makes us not pay attention to the details? And why do we let that guard mentally down or physically? Why do we have those ups or downs? And how do we have more ups, more stable, and then we go here, and then we go a little bit down, then we go up a lot? And maybe that will happen for Iowa State. But it's just interesting to me of how psychologically and physically that happens when they know the circumstances, they know what they're walking into, and then they don't perform the best. It's really an interesting thing to me, kind of interesting phenomenon in all sports, really. And even in jobs and stuff like that, sometimes things don't go away. Somebody else gets a promotion when we're working our butt off and we're doing things right. But that's how life goes. So comment, let me know what you think about those situations and how we can improve ourselves and make it better. It might be $1 million question, but with reflection, we can all get to where we want to be. So I think that's important. And other than that, that's really all I have for you today. So quick one, under 10 minutes today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.